welcome to episode 3 of Curry and Dice with Adam and Tim. Unbelievably, we're on to our third one.
All good?
All good. Well, if anybody's still watching or listening to this at episode 3. And last time we talked about a shop bought curry. This one we're talking about game 3 at the Burton Doubles, which was after a pretty civilised night out in Burton.
Do you want to talk us through that curry?
Well, the interesting thing about it is that it was a very popular curry house. Absolutely rammed. Lots of wargamers, some who'd not booked, queuing outside, and it's always good to be sat there in a table of 12, 14 people and see people that you might be playing the next day come in hungry at about 9:30, 10 o'clock and have to wait. That's quite satisfying. You also had to go next door to get beer,
Which was, I could go either way on that because we've bigged up the Coop. The Coopers is the pub we were talking about, and that is the pub next door, which did very, very good ale. So that's very nice to have that close. On the downside, that whole curry and lager thing wasn't happening that much, so that was a little
curry
bit
and bitter, wasn't it? Yeah, because the Coopers is not really a place for the big Kingfisher versus Cobra debate to happen.
No, they did do in the Coopers. They did do a lager, but it was a bit of a weird one. It was a bit of a real ale lager as opposed to your classic curry lager.
Yeah, and unless you're in Hoxton, that makes no sense at all. And then if you're in Hoxton, it makes no sense at all. So that's a possibility. But the curry, it's good. It's solid, big quantity. Not adding the beers in makes it easier to split.
Not the most amazing curry house I've been in, but good solid quality.
Yeah, really, really good, and not overpriced. And you can't really argue about that. And we also had a pint in, what was it, the Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings potting shed or whatever it was called.
That was a disappointment. It must be said.
That really was. Yeah.
Burton let me down on that one. This in the car park of our hotel, there was a quite small Lord of the Rings themed pub, which being the all geeky
it's
weirdos
like a magnet, isn't it?
Really? It's like we can't not.
We
go
could
there.
not go to it.
And the whole theming of the Lord of the Rings
It was
is
basically a poster, wasn't it?
They
It's
put
the
up
name
a
of the
picture of
pub
Gandalf
and a poster. Even the people running it didn't have beards. I don't think there was a short fat one with hairy feet.
Yeah. Although they did make the effort of calling their microbrewery lagers things like Rivendell Express or something.
Bit half-hearted, particularly compared to Seville, which
had statues of dwarves.
which had statues of dwarves and was fully kitted out. And that was 15 years ago, Seville.
Was it?
Which is amazing because we're both only 23.
Jesus.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But next morning, surprisingly, breakfast in the Travelodge, very good.
Yeah.
Rolled across the road to the venue.
In bed by midnight, which is handy for a morning game.
Shameful, really, for us, or possibly a sign of
Especially
age.
for the young 23-year-old
Yeah,
lads.
the young
that
23-year-old lads that we are. Yeah, and game 3, we're fighting an army that we almost picked ourselves: Armenians and Romans.
Good solid army.
We'd sort of picked it anyway with the way we put our list together, which we talked about in podcast number 1. So let's have a look how this set itself up. Armenians, very obvious army. It's cataphracts and light horse, possibly some other bits and pieces. If you take Tigranes, you get some pikemen and some bits imitation legionaries.
Much like our Jewish, to be honest.
But this battle, you're looking at this. You've got rough terrain on both flanks. You've got this big wooded area in the middle. What was your thought, and how did this affect the way you thought we deployed?
Well, the thought for this is I think we went mirror image deployment. You had one half of the cataphracts, rough terrain, legionaries on one side, and you would push down that flank, and I would do the same on the other. Again, it's very not complicated forward line. So I think what was important in this battle, if you look at this area here, and on your maps it doesn't actually show it, it's this wooded area here. These troops here are this is the Romans' rough terrain troops, but these are really high quality troops. These are like these sort of elite light heavy infantry with darts and impact capability or something. Top quality troops.
You're going all 7th edition on me there, possibly even 6th.
I can't remember, to be honest.
They're just cool little idiots.
But this is out of 400 points. I'm guessing this is about 80 points worth of troops. So this is getting on for a quarter of their army, and there's that's a wood they're sat in. And there's no way we're going in to fight them because we would lose. But unless he does something with that, that's 80 points of his army just sat there doing nothing. And even worse, where he's holding it there, his whole line is routed to that flank. So he gets a solid flank in the middle, internal flanks, but he's pinned himself down.
It was an army that was tied to a defensive situation. You've got a river there, so they're locked in there. This is a good anchor, and I think also, strangely enough, with the river on one side and this rough terrain here, normally that's the flanks are terrain for light horse.
Yeah.
But our light horse couldn't sit on either flank. It would be pointless on either flank, which means both types of light horse, this one here with the Armenians and the Parkers, they effectively defended a flank in the middle.
Yeah.
And had the potential to skirmish away. Now, I was sat on this side of the table, and you've got some enemy light horse there, you've got some bits of cavalry, you've got some bowmen. The gladiators and elephants, that looked like a target. That's a bit of a risk, the cavalry, but if the elephant can be in there, and the superior gladiators or elite gladiators in these rules, that was good. So this, from my side of it, it was really hell for leather, straightforward. And
same on mine. We'd set up well, and we could pick our targets. They sat there in one line, so they let us choose our targets and choose where we wanted to attack, and we did.
You do say that, but we basically deployed and went straight forward. So that choice was set at deployment, really.
That's how good our deployment was.
Yes, exactly. Or how beer fueled or coffee fueled it was. So again, that's the formation. I probably missed some in the middle, but that's life.
We had a rough time measuring straight forwards.
Yeah, that was tough. These guys are racing up. Oh, look, you've got your Zeist and Thracians in there, and that's nice. You've got a funny little elephant. You've got a Spartacus figure there, and this is complicated, isn't it? But
no, that's target.
That's squishy. That's squishy.
That's all target.
That's scary.
Really.
That's going to have to run away.
And even scary against an elephant that's a target.
And these whole Romans, so we've sort of got a light horse in the middle, but I think they can go through the cataphracts, can't they, in these rules?
They can not be there by the time the solid fighting.
So this cats, legions, cats. We're matched up here, aren't we? Really, pretty much.
We are. I think we've got slight advantages.
This is your side. How did you see this playing out?
Saw this playing out. It's more or less matched up, but we've got slight advantages with elite troops, and these are our full fat legionaries. So this is our best. So the troops are similar, except we've got better quality, and I think vaguely more of them.
But what about this far end? Because that's it's a bit in the distance on this shot, but
that's all the Theophori mobbing forward against a similar target. But I think he's got bows in there. So again, it's squishier. He's slightly squishier. So all along the line, we're slightly better. So I'm making a judgment there of somewhere along the line, our slightly better can be leveraged into I'm going to peel you open.
Okay. And here, I think maybe this was just beer talking really from the night before the coffee and not kidding. I'm conscious I've got a bit out of sync here. The cataphracts are racing forwards.
Oh yeah, you really messed this one up, didn't you?
I was all over the shop.
I mean, if you scroll back up, look at that nice straight lines.
Yeah, I know, that's proper, isn't it? This is just a dog's breakfast. These are suddenly going, yeah, we've just got to deal with all of this stuff and the things.
How do you get a cataphract so far forward ahead of everybody
Maybe
else?
they just rolled good pip dice and the legionaries didn't.
Yeah.
Basically, what we're saying.
Oh, and if you roll the pip dice, you've got to use them. That's one of the rules.
I didn't plan. I didn't coordinate. I just thought, get these in here. If they're going in fast, someone else has to go in fast, and the legionaries can catch up.
Okay, so let's see how that plan pans out.
See, look, I've made them run away. How about that?
Well played.
Those two cavalry don't look quite so clever there. It'd be nice if they were in front of the elephant, but hangover tactics. Even my own troops are criticising me here. That's not ideal.
But the surprising thing was there wasn't that much of a hangover going on.
No, there wasn't.
We had drunk a fair amount of beer, but we had got to bed.
Yeah.
Really.
In fact, here I've actually somehow managed, because if cavalry fight the troops next to the elephants, they're at a disadvantage because they're within a base. So the cavalry are actually fighting the troops 2 bases away from the elephants' fight, and these bowmen are in a position to charge the flank and
shoot stuff. And
what has happened? How did I do this? That's just like abandoned genius, isn't it? This is worse than your elephant in game 2.
My elephant in game 2 was beautiful.
Well, it came good eventually. Mm-hmm. But
let's see if you do.
Well, let's see. Oh, I obviously changed the colour balance here on the camera, or someone's opened the curtains. So they're still chewing away. What's going on? Oh, it's a mess. So yeah, that's really clever, isn't it? That's really cute, and that's just awful. What? Well, look, skim over that. So they are bowmen, aren't they? They're bowmen in there. Were they javelin men, or were they?
Yeah, they were slightly not as good as mine. So they had javelin, medium foot, and I had
turning cutting weapon there with the Thracians.
better. Yes, that's it. Which are the magic weapon.
Yeah, that's the magic weapon. And here you've got your best troops quite a long way from the enemy still.
It's a well organised echelon attack. I think
That could be
you'll
it,
find.
couldn't it? Okay. And I suppose they're just close enough to protect the flank, aren't they?
Protecting the flank. They've given up an overlap, but they're in against bowmen with sort of like really good weapons, so that's all good really. And with cataphracts next to them are elite, they'll be going in next. It's all washing quite well.
It's all slamming in. So this is my side of the table. God. So what have I got here? So we've got those are cataphract. They're mine. That's one of mine. There's one of his step forward there. The bowman can turn this thing in the flank. That's fighting off cavalry with. He's got an overlap there. I've got oh dear me.
Are they yours there?
They're mine. They're the gladiators.
And what are they trying to do?
I think they're anticipating this unit being killed.
Okay.
This one stepping forward and them dealing with it. I might maybe I'm not even sure I deployed these. I might have just dropped them on table. There's just something going horribly wrong here. And yeah, that's a nice coherent battle line. This is from the top. At least we were chewing that legion up a bit. Yeah. And I think we'd come in fast enough. I remembered. I did have a plan.
Okay.
Honestly.
Brilliant.
The cataphracts and cavalry had been deployed deep from the opposition, ready to expand out as they push forward. So I thought if I race really fast forwards, Lee, these guys won't have a chance to get involved and I can just lose to the front rank.
That's working out well.
That's working out well, yeah. And these are still so far away. That's like what, that's two or at least two moves.
Yeah.
Oh, what a mess. There's enemy cavalry, don't really like that. It's not these nice neat lines at all, is it? In fact, basically, the bit out of this film it was all on fire. Metaphorically, literally everything.
That's good.
Here's you by the river.
This is actually disappointingly even. I might have been taking more hits, but we'll see how it goes. It's fight started. Might go either way.
Yeah. So you've barely started. You've got nice neat lines. Look at this. I'm in the end game already here. This is just that's obviously gone as I planned. Bowman is shooting me. I used to have a cataphract. There's two cataphracts there, completely isolating my cavalry. At least these are in a tidy line.
Yeah,
when they arrive, that's going to be brilliant, isn't it? What I've done is I've broken the enemy up and
you sweep them up.
Soften them up for
that classic two.
These are two different games, aren't they? This is your side, isn't it?
Yeah. This is as.
This was Super Shooter, wasn't it? Just a man with sticks.
Oh no, it's even further along. Which is.
I think he was the one that you were lobbing javelins at, and he's picking up markers.
Oh yeah, no, he actually broke him just through throwing pointy sticks, which is almost impossible, but quite funny.
Yeah. This is one of those photos that you draw the lines on it, and then you look backwards. You think, have I drawn a pair of gonads here? That's because it was just bollocks.
So, talk me through your thinking again. Stop them deploying, and
well, I thought if I put all my troops into separate units, he'd have to break up his formation to beat me.
So you're attacking his pips.
So I'm attacking his pips by whatever. So I'm starting to sweep around. Look, and I'm using this really fast manoeuvre. No,
the elephant's almost close to his cavalry.
Yeah, it's all which is that's killed some of them. It's just a dog's breakfast, isn't it? But it is that bit where the DBX games work, where it really breaks down and both sides are just throwing troops in, and that's quite fun.
Trying to shore up where you're weak and trying to exploit the good stuff. Here, that's starting to go better. Our superior quality.
That's gone.
Slowly. We've lost one.
We've lost one to the bowman.
Dice sometimes happen, but we've taken two. Our superior quality slowly begins to win out.
Now, isn't he? He's nearly dead. And
we're blowing that hole.
Good. So here we're sort of rolling. I don't have the technique to break these things down.
That looks quite well deployed, mate. You should. Yeah,
it's just nothing like that, is it? If we just pretend that this is really how it happened, and this is your stuff, and you smashed through there, so that's quite good. Here, I've actually got some proper troops up.
They in?
Not yet. No.
Oh, okay.
They're thinking about being in. They're close to being in. I think the Peltasty guys are into the bowmen who picked up.
So that light horse in front of the Judean Legion. So
mine,
are they yours or
that
his?
one's mine.
Okay.
That one's his. That's his well, at least that cataphract's still going.
Yeah.
It's still doing well. It's got a red marker there. Not sure where the other one's gone. Maybe somebody knocked the table, or maybe the bar staff picked them up by accident when they were cleaning the glasses away or something.
Indeed.
I don't know. And look, look here. Gradually, I am starting to reform a line.
Yeah,
But
and you are putting the pressure on the flank.
and they're going to have to run. They're light horse, and I must have chewed up a cavalry. That bowman isn't going to last long, is he? You know, the bowmen are rubbish. That's a general, so I don't. Well, that might even be that's the artillery. Nobody's ever fought artillery before.
Is that
He's
any good?
still there. We'll find out. He's still there. Going forwards, you actually shot someone. That's what,
Yes.
4 hits.
It's
On a minus 2 dice roll.
they were only medium, so it's 3 hits on the minus dice roll, and to rally it up, all you had to do was get 4, 5, or 6, and you failed every time. So almost impossible, but quite funny.
Sometimes it happens, and all of a sudden, this is the happiest legion in the world.
Yeah.
And you're even getting the rubbish Roman cavalry out,
Protecting that flank.
protecting the flank. That's the way it works, isn't it? So what do we have here? We've got a slightly bigger picture here. So you chewed them up. Well, yeah, again, chewed them up there. You're engaged here. These are fighting the cataphracts. They've not got into
With
this.
overlaps.
With overlaps. You're starting to feel good.
Yeah, it's going well.
It's going well.
We're winning.
This is the same picture from a different angle. They suddenly look very isolated without the flanks, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They really do. My side. Oh, that used to be an elephant, didn't it?
Oh yes.
Oh yes. So bow fire from these guys has just shot it down. And then again, elephant rampage. What's going to happen?
What exciting thing happened?
What exciting thing happened? Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
One day.
One day we'll get a proper elephant rampage. But again, you know, I think it's one of those things. Maybe we need to get a klaxon or an air horn, so that whenever it happens during a competition, we can just pass it to whoever's got it.
Special hat.
Special hat, and they can play the elephant rampage hooter.
Well, they've got to show their elephant.
Yeah. No, we're not going there. Here, something's happening. You're finishing those guys off by the looks of it, or are they finishing? Actually, it looks like they're giving you a kicking. I thought they were all dead. Or is that your troops? No, that's theirs. They've got a marker on it. Did it all suddenly go wrong now?
I think I had a couple of bounds of excitingly bad dice.
Oh, yeah, because that was looking very good, and now it's not. But you've got a hole here, and you can start to turn the flank.
Yeah, it's getting to the point there where I was being forced to choose between different good things to do,
Okay.
which is always a tough decision.
So this is artillery hitting the flank by superior gladiators when it's already taken nearly enough hits to kill it.
And the cataphracts in front of the artillery, are they yours or his?
No, I've got no cataphracts left by this time.
Okay.
That's all a long time ago.
Okay.
So yeah, artillery, their factor in combat is +1 to the enemy.
That's not a great factor.
That's not the best
is it?
factor, is it? No, that's quite fun, but not the greatest factor. I'm just pressing forward the little old glory guys. They're all stepping forward from this angle. This is one of their best angles, I think.
Yeah, looking good, and it's that classic Roman sausage mincing machine of chop, chop, chop. See, on the map, we're still doing surprisingly well on.
Yeah, I think, but it looked like we were losing there. So obviously I didn't take account of the reality of the photos. But, you know, they say the victor writes the history or draws the map, and
Done deal.
one of us was called Victor. So that cataphract, see, this is my strategic thing. I had one lucky unit.
He was your first unit in combat, wasn't he?
He was the first unit in combat. He's still alive. He's taken 2 hits out of 3. He's fighting someone who's nearly dead. He's got someone in the flank. But now these are starting to hit some squishy stuff, getting in overlaps, and it's starting to make a bit of a mess of it. Here, have they come out of the wood there?
They've stepped out of the wood. They decided that they were losing everywhere else, so they had to give it a go. But even our cavalry isn't great, but again, it's cavalry fighting medium foot in the open, so they get bonuses for that. So not disastrous.
Okay, and then there's clearly not too much left here. Actually, the bowmen have all been chewed up from the enemy. Some of their cavalry have been chewed up. The cataphracts are coming over, but there's legions.
So fair to say, after your first fairly disastrous wave, where he had got all chopped up into silly positions as well.
It just worked. I tempted him into to chasing my piecemeal army,
Well played.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
no,
that's
good,
what I think.
good
Yeah.
plan. Well played.
And that, I'm sure that did happen eventually. I'm pretty sure it happened eventually. So we went straight through the Armenians. The legions kind of won there, and eventually we made a mess here. These were pretty battered, I think, in the course of things. But overall,
Big win.
3 points for a win, 86-24, and it's lunchtime. It's pork pie time, or potentially even Sunday lunchtime.
They did a decent roast out of the venue.
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they? Yeah, we had a very good roast. Well, let's talk about that in episode 4.